What is going on YouTube? Just figure out to make a quick vlog. I wanted to just kind of talk about some of the behind the scenes of my fitness coaching business and like the things I'm actively working on and lessons that I've learned for you guys, but also for my fitness clients watching this and people that aren't my clients that maybe just want to get some benefit. It's going to teach you a lot about accomplishing your goals, sacrifice, discipline, and most importantly, how to strategize yourself for success. So it's not so much willpower you have to use, but you have systems in place essentially. So right now what I'm working on essentially is targeting the right type of people, because there's essentially two halves, right? There's two sides. One side is the exact clients I work with and the guys I've worked with in the past that have gotten amazing results. They're perfect fits for the Achieve Your Ideal Physique program. They ask good questions, they work hard, they take action, they show up, they go above and beyond, and they're willing to be held accountable. And they're going through the whole course material. They're going through, they're doing everything, right? They're maximizing and taking advantage of, number one, most importantly, the investment, because working with me is not cheap. It's a multiple four-figure investment. So they're going through and getting their money's worth, and they're actually absorbing and learning the material so that when they're done working with me, they know how to do these things on their own. But even the best guys know that they're going to continuously need coaching, support, structure, progression with their workouts, macro adjustment, hormone optimization, metabolism, adjustments over time. So most of my best clients and students are the ones that, work with me over a long period of time, or even still to this day, right? And so if you're watching this video and you're one of those people, shout out, you know what it takes obviously to put work in. And as I'm working with these people, I'm working on figuring out specific processes that work best for them, AKA the style of coaching I provide, right? When I say style of coaching, here's what I mean. I personally use a lot of psychology and mindset coaching because I know that that's one of the biggest friction blocks that prevents people from taking those initial steps towards getting after their goals and staying consistent. Because the biggest thing I've learned is the things that are hard aren't actually hard. It's just the resistance to doing them and making that decision, right? So for example, I'm not going to say that losing weight isn't hard and doing training isn't hard in the gym. It's definitely hard. But if you're let's say you're 300 pounds or you're 280 pounds, because I know tons of guys like this, right? They're stuck in their own way. They're not willing to make any change. And they've been this way for 10, 15, 20, 30 years, some of them. And the only thing that's going to ever get these guys unstuck is making changes different from how they've done things. And that's going to, of course, feel uncomfortable, scary, and there's just going to be a ton of discomfort there, right? It's going to feel weird. And that is where truly that resistance pops up, is when they're thinking about making the decision. Oh, should I decide to step into the new identity of this person, of the character traits and the disciplines and the habits and the life that he lives, or maybe she, whoever's watching. Obviously, I help mostly guys, but I help women too. If you're a girl that wants to tone your glutes, get your core defined, I do that as well. It's just that I have way more case studies, way more testimonials, way more results for guys. Now I've worked with probably transparently 15 to 20 girls, and I've probably gotten 10 to 12 crazy transformations. Honestly, a handful of them didn't follow the plan. There's always people in the program that don't do their part, and there's only so much you can do as a coach, right? You have to actually want it, right? But at the same time, the big thing that I focus on is helping my clients see that it's going to be challenging, but helping motivate them to want to make that change and keep taking these actions, right? Because I've never been the type of coach, I've said this to so many people, I've never been a hard football coach, and a lot of my clients notice that, because it's not going to help if I'm yelling at you for doing something wrong. I'm going to try to figure out what was actually the thing that caused this to happen, and how can we prevent it in the future, and how can we figure out where we still succeeded, and what was a positive thing from this outcome, right? But yeah, so it's a lot of mindset coaching I focus on, a lot of intuitive eating. But that being said, over the past few months, one thing that I've been implementing with my own with my own eating and also with my clients, is carb cycling. And essentially carb cycling, in a nutshell, I've talked about it on a handful of other videos. Carb cycling is when you can do it a couple of different ways, really a plethora of ways. But the way I like to do it is you have higher carb days where you have basically you're in a calorie surplus on 2 days, maybe 3 out of the week, right? It's probably ideal to do 2, maybe even just 1 to start, depending on your level of advancement, how lean you are. And you're essentially having what's called a refeed day, or a higher food meal day. And you're able to eat more food. You can plan to eat things that are a little bit off what you're typically eating to get amazing results on those days. And what it's going to do is it's going to help fill your muscles with tons of energy, which is glycogen, which is what carbohydrates break it down into. Now, it's specific. You want to make sure you're doing some things right, like for example, not eating high fats on those days, not having your protein extremely high through the roof, but having enough quality protein. Make sure there's not spillover with body fat, right? But if you do things correctly and you follow the process that I'm teaching the guys that work with me and even myself that we use, essentially you're in a calorie deficit at the end of the week. We all know thermodynamics, you cannot change that, right? That basically means that, energy can't be converted, it can't be destroyed, right? It essentially only can be converted. Like you can't literally just get, you have energy on you from excess food. It doesn't just go away. You're going to gain that weight. But if you do things the right way, you're going to fill your muscles up with that weight and then use that for your next training session. So essentially it's not like a hack, but it's essentially you're in a calorie deficit because we need that to burn body fat, right? We've discussed that. But you also don't want to be flat and have no energy throughout your training sessions all week. So instead of being at like a moderate deficit all week, you're in, a steeper deficit some days, and then other days you're in more of a surplus, like a deep surplus. And then other days you're in just a slight deficit. So you have moderate carb, high carb, and low carb days essentially. And that's what I've been teaching my clients, right? And as I'm going through this, I'm just figuring out how can I use the right messaging to attract the right types of clients. And when I say attract, what I mean is when I'm talking my content on my Instagram shorts, if you don't follow me, or Instagram reels, if you don't follow me there, it's JSGRFit, same username as here. When I'm talking in these videos, etc. On my coaching calls, even, it's just, figuring out what are the biggest things. Like I've noticed from most of the guys that I've worked with, it always stems from mindset or confidence, right? Like usually somebody wants a better mindset, and they want a better physique because they want to have confidence, right? Like every time somebody makes an insane transformation, they just tell me how much more confident they are, how much better they feel, how much more energized they feel, etc. How like they feel like they have so much more that they can reach for and so much more potential they weren't aware of essentially, and how like all these health markers are improving. And so as I'm implementing this with literally every single one of my clients right now, I have one client I'm working with that's not doing it because he's at a bit of more of a beginner stage and he's just not ready for it. It's not suited for his goals. But besides him, all of my other clients are doing carb cycling right now and they're getting good results from it. And it's good for the two types of people. One, it's good for people that have made a pretty good transformation and lost some weight or body fat, ideally just body fat. But either way, you lose some weight and then you hit a plateau, you run into a wall. Carb cycling is perfect. It's going to help train your metabolism. It's going to help like just a ton with giving you, again, that extra recovery that you need and the extra output you need for your training sessions because, again, you're eating more food, more energy. But at the same time, it's strategic. So there's days where you're not training hard or you're maybe taking a rest day. You're not really having any carbs at all because you don't need them. And it's nice because you have a high day where you feel like full, you feel really like, I ate a lot of food today. I feel like I'm out of that deprivation mode. My body is not signaling to lose muscle or to, conserve energy. That's a big problem with calorie deficits long term, is your body is now conserving less and less and less energy. As you restrict or deduct calories, your body essentially is trying to hold on to as much weight as possible, and it's not trying to drop water weight or burn calories essentially. And so this is why these refeeds are great, because it reminds your body, hey, wait a second, like we have plenty of energy to work with. We don't have to get into scarcity mode. Don't worry. Keep burning excess calories. Just keep burning like stored energy, body fat, right? And at the same time, you're in a deficit in the week, so you're still going to be burning fat. Now, obviously how much fat you burn depends on a variety of factors, but let's say you're in a deficit on average across the entire 7 days of 500 calories. Now, there might be, and I might not be doing math great, but there might be like 2 or 3 days where you're in, in 1,000 calorie deficit or 800 calorie deficit, but then there's 1 or 2 days where you're, 800 calories or 600 calories over in a surplus or something. I don't know. I would have to look at the numbers, right? But you get the concept and the point, right? So it's a great, tool you can use. And it's been helping me a lot. I'm working on getting up to 225 lean right now. Right now, I'm sitting at roughly about like 215. But that being said, I'm really focusing on doubling down on my strength training and my programming. It's been amazing recently. And I want to get to 225 to 230 mark. And I know that's a steep goal. Maybe it's not, but for me, it's a steep goal because it's another 15 to 20 10 to 15 pounds of muscle mass, right? But I know if I can get there, even if I am not, as lean as I'd like to be, then at 225, cutting down, getting to like a sharp 208, 210, somewhere around there, 212 maybe, depending on like how much muscle I can pack on, that is where I'll be, pretty happy. So that being said, this is just something I've been, working with working on with some of my guys. And it's just figuring out in my content on Instagram, in my, essentially my marketing, which is basically just me posting content and my advertisements, figuring out the right types of people and the perfect fits that are going to be the guys that come into the program, kick ass, take action, they work hard, they ask good questions, they make insane transformations, and they just utilize everything that's laid out for them. Literally, you have a full course, you have a community of brothers just like you in the exact same position. Most of these guys are in their 30s. There's one or two outliers. There's a guy that's 29 and he's approaching his 30s. There's another guy that's in his 40s. And funny enough, guy in his 40s is one of my best transformations. He's dropped like 38 pounds of, obviously it's not all body fat, but he wasn't strength training prior to us working together. He's dropped 38 pounds and he's been strength training. He has so much more muscle. He's so much leaner and he just feels amazing. Confidence has skyrocketed. Energy levels are high. And so obviously, like, you can go to my Instagram page at JStrideFit. In my bio, it says, essentially there's a tag with my coaching page, which is my other page, which is Achieve Your Ideal Physique. If you go to my Instagram bio, JStrideFit, my Instagram at JStrideFit, click my bio, you'll see a tag there. That shows all my transformations, all my case studies. If you want to look more, you can also go to my playlists or my older videos or some of my newer videos. There's tons in there. But that being said, I've just been figuring out like who are the types of people I want to work with, and it's been a long process for sure. And like with entrepreneurship, like there's so many factors that go into it, but when you can not dial in like who you are speaking to, you're going to be able to have conversations with the people that you want to work with. And so if you have a service or a product that person is actively searching for, and if they're not actively searching for it, they have that problem, they just aren't aware that you can help solve it, in the best interest and the best, time, etc., like the fastest. If you can focus on that, like, you can make money like from your phone. And for me, I've never liked working a job. Any time in the past where I was working a job, I was always just like looking forward to getting out and like distracting myself throughout the day, like, scrolling on social media, like, trying to like, just like leave my desk and go in my, like, I would literally go in the bathroom and like be on my phone, like posting TikTok videos, and like, not like of me in the bathroom, obviously, like I would post like workout clips and like Instagram reels and stuff. And yeah, it's just like, you want to do something with your life that you genuinely enjoy and love doing. I love coaching, and recently, like, I've taken a big dive back into, more education, which I'm a constant educator slash, maybe I should say, I guess, educate my clients, but more of a student, I should say, right? But over the past few months, I've been focusing a lot on like marketing and learning the business concepts and like building great client relationships. I'm pretty good with, not to toot my own horn, but I'm pretty good with service, delivery slash fulfillment and sales. Like, it's pretty much a walk in the park for me. For me, the things I've been working on essentially are at the top of my funnel, like the people that come into my audience, making sure that they're the good fits. Because it's not that I don't want people coming to my page that aren't a good fit, but I have had, unfortunately, people that joined my program that were weirdos. Like, I had some guys that were like gay, basically, and they were trying to like get to know me. And it's just like, bro, like, when we started and we like first chatted, like, you said you were trying to lose 40 pounds. Like, are you trying to do that or not? And it's just, there's weirdos out there. So that's not the only reason. The other reason is I've also had people where very chill, regular, normal person, not that person's not regular and normal, but like, didn't do anything strange, right? But they came into the program and didn't do anything. It's like, bro, what? And then they don't answer any of my messages. So that's why I need to make sure, like, I'm only targeting the best people, because if I have something in my program, they doesn't follow the program, they're not going to get results. It's not going to look good at me. It's not going to help them. And, I don't want that, because it doesn't help the community. It doesn't motivate other guys to see like people in there that are not posting, that are dead in the community. Not that the community's dead, but it's like, if somebody's added to the group, I always say, hey, yo, everybody in the group, like, we have an inner circle group chat inside my coaching app. Like, hey, everyone, welcome to the group chat, blank. And it's funny, actually, side note, I when I say, I don't say like, hey, everybody, like, say welcome. I'm not telling my clients to say welcome to the group to this guy. I'm just saying welcome to the group, and I'm tagging everybody so they all see it. And then it's funny because the last time I did that, when my most recent client joined, I think I signed a new client like 10 or 11 days ago. When he signed up, I said like, welcome to the group chat, and I tagged him, Nathan. And everybody said like, welcome, man, welcome. And I was laughing at it. But that being said, like, I just want to make sure I get the right people in, because I can only give somebody, like, I can lead, the saying, I can lead the horse to water. I can't force them to drink. Like, I've given people free programs that don't follow the plan. It's like, bro, like I've tried coaching people for free. It's like they don't follow it. So like, that's why people have to pay me a lot of money to actually be held accountable. You have skin in the game. Like, if you pay multiple 4 figures, invest in yourself and your health, like, you're not gonna take that lightly. And I've even had people pay a lot more than that, honestly. Like, granted, now, if you're like, oh my gosh, like, I didn't know it was that much work for me, like, yeah, it's a big investment for sure, and it's a life-changing result. But that being said, I have different tiers of access. So what I think of my own business as is I have proximity fitness offers and proximity mentorship offers. So essentially, my top tiered program is you're basically meeting with me like upwards of 2 to 3 coaching calls per week. Like, yeah, you are like damn near almost every day. And if necessary, like, we can jump on a call every single day. Like, we are like, you have my personal cell phone number, you're getting like every single day we're chatting, right? Not to say like I'm gonna be on top of your ass, like, if you don't need anything, but it's like I am gonna be there for you when you need that support. And I have other tiers. Like, some of my best clients are the guys that we only meet like once or twice a month, because they're following the plan to a T. They're asking questions, they're executing, they're responding to my chat messages, they're reaching out on the chat, they're taking advantage of everything, all the resources. And the coaching, which is where, like, that's actually where the transformation comes. Like, people think that like, oh, the program is the secret sauce, like, that's what that investment was for. Or like the course, like, yeah, that stuff's all just cool, but it's just information at the end of the day. It's like, you don't know how to implement it and hold yourself accountable. That's why you haven't done it over these past 5-10 years. So it's like, the actual investment is for having somebody over your shoulder holding you accountable, telling you like, no, dude, like, we have to keep going, like, we got to do more, like, we got to get better. Like, I'm gonna call you out on your BS, but also I'm gonna say, dude, nice work, you've been crushing it. Like, I'm gonna double down on your wins, right? Because it's gonna build internal motivation, positive reinforcement, all this stuff, which is the other thing I really factor into my coaching. And so, yeah, I really just want to make this video kind of talk about like some of the behind the scenes. Right now, I'm working on a different funnel, and if I didn't re-loop my last hook, and that's in marketing terms, but in latent terms, meaning if I didn't finish whatever I was just talking about a minute ago, like, don't worry, I'll get back to it. And if I don't, then it's all good. It wasn't that important. But yeah, that's really what I just want to make the video about. Starting a coaching business has been cool for sure. The big thing that I'm focusing on as like I head into the second half of 2026 is networking. There's so many online fitness coaches that I know personally that are on other sides of the world that are doing really well. And when I say other sides of the world, there's a couple I'm connected with in different countries, but there's also a lot that are in my, maybe not my state, but in my, in the US, right? I'm in the US. For you guys that don't know, I'm in Boston, Rhode Island area, somewhere around there. And essentially, closer to Boston though. Essentially, there are people that live a few states away that are online fitness coaches that are crushing it, that are doing big things in the industry. And I've been wanting to just connect with some of these guys. And there's other entrepreneurs I've been connected with on social media that haven't met in person that like are always saying like, yo, let's all get together. And that's something that I've really been leaning into doing, is like either A, moving out, and like meaning moving out of the state I'm in right now, which is like kind of like the area I've been for a little while now, and going somewhere new, but also most importantly, just like connecting with people that are doing what I'm doing. Because like at the end of the day, it's like most people are not entrepreneurs, right? So if you're starting an online business, most people aren't doing that. You're not gonna have much in common with people. You need to surround yourself with people that are gonna do the same things. Otherwise, you're gonna feel like you're not doing the right thing. It's gonna feel like, I feel like I'm doing something weird, like everybody's looking at me like I'm doing the wrong thing. Even if it's not the case, like you're gonna feel that way because you're the only one doing it, right? So that's why I've been focusing on that a lot. And yeah, besides that, you guys, I had made an Instagram post, and I didn't say anything other than the fact I just, in one of my posts of like a recent like photo dump, I guess you could call it, I just captioned like big announcement coming soon. So here's the announcement. Essentially, I'm gonna break it to you guys. Drop in the comments your thoughts, and obviously it's like I'm not making my decision based on what you guys think, but I'm feeling like doing this. So basically, I've never done a bodybuilding show, but I'm thinking about doing one for two reasons. One, I know it'll give me a ton of credibility in my niche, but also you can do big things with like fitness and, you know, supplement brands and things of that nature. Now, like, I used to think of what I do as like, hey, I need to have essentially a sponsorship to make money. I realize now that like I've made a lot of money with my online coaching business and having under 3,000 followers, right? Now, just being able to have like basically something to prep for, like the biggest thing for me would just be like pushing myself and seeing what I can accomplish, because I've never done a show and I know that like I would crush, like literally like I would fucking crush. Like I feel confident like I could literally win first in the show because I know what a lot of these guys look like in real life, and I've seen a lot of these guys at least from my hometown and whatnot, and some surrounding towns and like my bigger city, Boston. Like, in, you know, these guys aren't like bigger than me. Like some of them a little bit maybe, but it's not like I'm, you know, I've been training like a bodybuilder and eating like one for the most part for 10 plus years. So, you know, it's like I know what I'm doing in the sense that I've been training for 12 years really. In the sense that like I could get on prep and like be fucking dialed and know how to hold myself on point. Also, I would of course have a coach. Like I have coaches I'm working with. I would probably bring a second coach on board, because basically the coach I work with, it's more for like movement pattern type-esque things and some like nutrition. But I would want to get more of like a hypertrophy bodybuilding-esque style coach. And also I would implement a lot of the things I learned from that prep into my other clients that maybe want to do a show. And also most of the guys I work with are lifestyle, like they don't want to do bodybuilding competitions. But it would just be cool to have them at arsenal for if I ever had somebody that wanted to do that, because again, I've had people in the past that have wanted to do shows and have been like planned for that. Although I've never coached somebody through a prep, like I've had people that are like, hey, this is my goal, like I want to get in good shape, build a foundation, right? It would just be cool to have them in my arsenal, but also I know that I could apply so many of those things to my clients. I also know that it would just be cool to push myself, you know, like I'm in my 20s, I'm young, but at the same time, I know that like you know, I'm in my prime with my physique. And when I say my prime, I don't mean I'm at my peak. Like I still have so much more muscle to gain, and I will, and also have, you know, so much more development essentially with my physique and my strength and just everything with like, not just like the physical, but also the mental and like my learning and everything of coaching over the years. But at the same time, I know that with my age where I'm at, I'm in a prime spot to be able to cause the most amount of growth. Like for example, if I wait, like if I kind of like, in other words, if I double down right now, I'm going to be putting on way more muscle versus if I keep training how I was 3-4 years ago, where I was still training hard, but I wasn't doing things as effective as I am now. You know, I probably will put on way more muscle just because of the fact that like I'm doubling down on when, you know, I'm strong, you know. I think a lot of guys, they wait until they're like in their 30s or 40s to start working out, and it just makes it harder. Now, not to say it's not doable for sure, but it's like when you start earlier, there, like even if you're watching this video right now, like you start today, the sooner you start, like the sooner you're gonna see the results you want. And when you start sooner, you just realize like when you can understand that when you build muscle, you maintain a lot of that, right? And there's at times like after a period of time of training hard and eating correctly, you will start having muscle maturity, which essentially is muscle that gets harder and harder and harder for it to break down and essentially decompose. So that means that when you're in your 30s, 40s, if you were training from say age 20, you know, you're going to probably be able to do much less training, get away with much less training, not eating perfect all the time, but still maintain a ton of muscle and be huge. Even if you're, say, like a naturally skinny person, because you did that groundwork, essentially. So I just look at it that way. You know, these next couple of years, like, we're really doubling down. Last year, you guys, it wasn't my best year. Like, we all have, like, times, but, like, where we're not on point. But, like, you know, just because I'm a coach doesn't mean, you know, I've always been dialed in. Like, last year from 2025, January/February, basically all through, like, the summer, like, I didn't really train that much. I was, like, focusing too much on my business. And trying to emphasize that, and I kind of lost like a lot of the results that I had, and I was kind of frustrated, right? Because I was telling myself like, hey, I'm already in great shape, you guys, like I already have tons of muscle, like I'm not gonna try to go even more above and beyond on that when I can just use that time and focus and attention and energy to build my business, right? And like I have a good enough physique in the sense that like I'm not content, but I'm gonna go into essentially like a maintenance mode right now, right? Where I'm gonna just do my best to kind of maintain the current physique I have. But if I lose a little bit of progress, I'll get it back. And I ended up losing more progress than I was hoping for. And then I went basically into a couple mini bulks, mini cuts. Then I cut down and got shredded, and then started bulking back up, and we're kind of like a lean bulk sort of like carb cycle approach. We're right now like we're still in a deficit, but we're in a very, very small deficit. Like you guys, like I'm in like 100 to 175 calorie deficit a day, meaning like it's a very low deficit, but I'm getting leaner week over week. It's not super noticeable, but the reason I'm in such a slight deficit is I'm trying to keep my strength high, right? And with time, like we'll have like big jumps with food, and then we'll bring it back down, right? So that being said, that's just like inside look. Again, working on my coaching business, really working on the funnel that I'm implementing and making sure that I bring the right people, working on my messaging for what it is I do. Essentially, if you guys aren't familiar, I help guys in their 30s. And if you're in your 40s, you can still reach out. It's just that guys in the 30s tend to get the best results. And again, the earlier we start, the better, right? So if somebody's 34, I would feel much more confident getting them in the same transformation and getting them to 7-8% body fat, or maybe not that lean if you don't want to get there. But I feel more confident there than like a 40-year-old. Again, I have a client that's 48, that's maybe an 11-12% body fat, has very visible abs. He might even be leaner than that. So yeah, you guys, it's definitely possible. But essentially, I help guys in their 30s with fat loss and gaining muscle. Now, my approach is helping you get lean enough so that your body is sensitive enough to insulin, so that we can then pack on lean muscle and not put on fat. I like to essentially do lean bulks. So it's like, let's say you're at 20% body fat right now. I would want to get you to anywhere from 8 to 10% body fat, and then, or maybe even 12, and then go into like a lean bulk, right? And pack on a bunch of muscle, and then cut down a little bit more, and then now you're getting a little bit leaner, right? But now you have a lot more muscle tissue you're retaining. So I basically help guys just like you watching this video with getting them lean enough so they can see, so they can reveal the muscle they already have, but also packing on lean, dense quality, high quality muscle mass. So their physique stands out. So they have big wide lats, big strong traps, delts. You want to have big biceps, triceps, like defined quadriceps that's sweet, like a nice core, everything, right? Like you want to be jacked, lean, like big and lean, but also mobile and healthy and feeling good, not stiff, and also, no like, digestion or like inflammation, right? Like that's really the way I coach, is like the entire full circle, right? Not just get you jacked, no, like mentally, like mindset, everything, right? And so that's just kind of what I'm working on. Again, I'm really working on getting up to 225 lean for my own personal fitness goals. I have a training session today. Yesterday, it was a back focused workout, and we also did overhead presses just because of programming reasons that was on there, but it was primarily a back day. Day before that, because it's gonna be my 4th straight training day, which I normally don't train 4 straight days. I normally don't even do 3 straight. You'll implement a rest day, but we're doing it. And basically we hit back yesterday. The day before that, we did quads and some calves. And the day before that, we did chest, maybe, or no, not chest, shoulders and triceps. So we're gonna do today arms and chest, essentially, biceps and chest, and a little bit of triceps. But we're getting into it. So yeah, I have my Ghost energy drink ready. I'm not training for another, what time is it? My phone is not, it's a notification popped up. I'm not training for another like 4 hours. So I'm gonna take a nap, which I rarely do in the middle of the day, but I'm exhausted. I barely slept last night because I was working all night on a couple of courses I just finished. Going again through my precision nutrition certification. It expires soon, so I have to re-up essentially, and going through other materials has been so helpful. And the other thing I just finished was my anatomy and biomechanics course. Go check out Ben Giannis on YouTube or Instagram if you guys are into like biomechanics stuff. Obviously, like I can coach you on that stuff, but like it's not my strength. I know enough about it, but he's like a genius when it comes to this stuff. And yeah, it's YANES if you go check him out. He has like probably 800K on followers on Instagram, but I like his stuff, and I bought a couple of his courses a few years back, and I've just been going through them. You know, it's not just anatomy and biomechanics and how your body moves and, you know, functions, but it's also preventing joint pain and applying it to workouts and training and summarizing it in a very, you know, more